It's just a breeze. We're here to talk about why we have loaner cars. So interesting. These two guys have loaner cars. We're going to talk about the positivity of loaner cars. And it's amazing. Just before we got on, Tom and Greg and I agreed that either you love loaner cars or you don't. And so this is all about love loaner cars. Okay. Greg Buckley's here from Buckley's Personalized Auto Care, Wilmington, Delaware. Always a great contributor of the show. And so is Tom, a contributor from Shadetree Automotive in Layton, Utah. I saw your beautiful, Tom, your beautiful cars when you did a aftermarketweekly.com live with us, and you gave us a tour, and I saw those beautiful cars stacked up in the parking lot. It was great, which is another reason I want to get into a little bit more in depth with you here. Hey, we want to thank Shopware for their great contribution to keep the lights on here. You know, Shopware wants to remind you to stop spending time chasing customers. Shopware's leading shop management system is helping shops like yours generate more profit per ticket with less time on the phone. Break away from your legacy system and implement a completely contactless workflow today. Get started. Now listen to this URL. You're going to love it. Get started at getshopware.com/carm. You know, when you're a podcaster and you get your own vanity URL at a sponsor, I think you made it. I don't know about you, but getshopware.com/carm. Thank you, Carolyn, for that. The pressure's on. You got to visit that. Hey, guys, let's tease the audience. Check this out. There is one of Tom's vehicles. It's a gorgeous shot. I know, Hollywood style picture. And there's the line in front of the parking lot at Shadetree there in Utah. And here's Greg. Are you selling cars there, Greg?
Yeah, I'm the man on the street. There you go. Now we had just got them, and I just had to do a really quick picture of what we got available. Now the blue Pilot is my personal. Patty and I we purchased that personally.
Oh, there's your
okay. Loaner, but we just want to highlight the fact of that we do service Hondas. We loan them, own them, and we love them. So
beautiful. Well, let's jump in. And Tom, you told me that I think it's all about being different, Carm, because that sets us apart. And there's no doubt that those are billboards. Wow, talk about differentiation.
Yeah, it's crazy. Actually, from being around the area here, everywhere I go, I see one of my cars flying by. And when I say flying by, they're usually driven a little crazier than I would prefer them to be driven some days. But no. Yeah, it's been fun. It's all about branding for me. As far as first part of branding or first part of marketing is you got to be recognizable. So you got to get as many impressions out there. I can't remember what the latest stats are now. It keeps going up, but of how many times somebody has to see your name before they remember it. So having a bunch of cars driving around with my name all over them.
Well, you know who may know that answer, Greg. I mean, we're in this 3 to 5 second world of seeing something and then moving on, right?
Yeah, it's a very quick impression that you offer everyone. I mean, from people in the neighborhood to people in the business community. When that car is driving around, it is literally a mobile billboard. And Tom's done it right. He's got a nice big presentation on the sides. It looks great, clean. You can't beat it. You really can't.
So differentiation, Tom, how many shops around you have loaner cars?
Oh, even though I share everything I do with all the shop owners around me, I'm still really the only one. The dealers are starting to pick it up, but we're behind the times here in Utah, honestly. Sorry about that background noise. I'm right by the Hill Air Force Base, so
yes,
I got
we know that the occasional jet.
Yeah. But no, my area is not competing with me on this level at all. There's a couple of smaller shops that might have one or two, and then the dealers kind of down Salt Lake way have them. But really, in my area, I'm kind of the guy in this whole area around me.
I find it interesting that you share with everyone. I was on a call with a dozen independents Thursday morning. I'm part of a group here in Buffalo, and loaner cars came up. And again, the room was completely split in the middle. I don't want the hassle. I don't want the liability. I should they be new, old? I don't want to have time to bother. You guys help us understand why this works for you.
Well, I'm always
Well,
a front end guy. Sorry, Greg, to jump in there, but I'm always focused on making money instead of saving money. Obviously, you got to do both. You got to balance the budget, but in what extra sales I can do up front far outweighs what costs and risks I take on the backside is my theory. I don't know if that's the same for you, Greg, but for me so far, not to jinx it, it's working out.
no, I think you're spot on. I hesitated for years. I've always had some, loaner cars. That hasn't been a problem, but they were all well-used loaner cars. And I just got tired of fixing, repairing them, putting capital into those things. The final straw was a few weeks ago when I loaned out my one remaining old vehicle, and we were repairing her Honda Civic, or excuse me, CRV, and we get a call in the afternoon. The brake line broke. The customer was panicking. She had no brakes. Fortunately, no issues. But that experience, both the negative of what the client experienced, of course, the safety and all that, just sealed the deal. And I had consulted with a bunch of shop owners, and Tom, I looked at what you were doing. I think I spoke with Pete Neal and a couple of other, Seth Thorson, Bruce Howes, Stefan Garbina, all very, very well heeled in this loaner program. And they brought it down to where the ROI is incredible. Just for the fact of what you can offer, like you said, Tom, forward thinking, and looking at your budget. And I can tell you that when the numbers came down to this, I just thought, why hadn't I done it sooner with the zero down lease programs that manufacturers are offering right now? There was no money out of pocket. And honestly, all of these vehicles that I have will be GPS tracked. We started a Square account, which means that any overcharges or fuels will automatically be charged. We're using a company called arsloaner.com. And they were introduced to me via Seth and the others. Fabulous. So when people think of the liability side of it, it really, find a good insurance company. I use Lancer, which, has been an industry stalwart for decades. I've seen them many, many times at all the shows. I called them up. I got a very favorable rate. We went through the legalities, the liabilities, the processes, the protocols, all that stuff you have to build. You have to make sure that your team is aware that no one gets out without a signature. I don't care if you're your best friend, the best client ever, they have to have signatures and cards and everything on file. Once we got through that, we got to start to see immediate results. I mean, the first day on the job, these Hondas had like $1,400 or $1,500 in repairs that the customer was comfortable, go ahead, proceed, and they were out for a day. So these are little things that just, I mean, like I said, I should have done this years ago. I just never, ever put this much thought into it, but it's worth it.
arsloaner.com. Is that a company that manages all this for you?
Yes, absolutely. They have multiple levels that you can sign up for, and I believe that you owe, I think the most is like $21 a month per VIN, and that is where
they use to that's their fee. But Greg, are they getting you insurance? Are they connecting you with a lease company? What's the role?
This is just for let's call it loaner management.
Okay,
it has nothing to do with insurance. You have a complete rental portal, loaner portal, And in that are all the forms, all your contracts, all your customer files. You even have birthday information. You can set up birthday clubs. It's all, exportable. Export files are available. They completely manage the whole process for you. And they're great to work with. They set things up very easily. You put your VIN code. It'll even give you a return on what you've spent in maintenance, the mileage, and with your subscription to Square or Stripe. I'm not sure which one they use, but with your subscription, every overcharge, like if you have a mile barrier or a fuel barrier, whatever the case might be, it's automatically charged to the customer's thing. And one good thing is that with the GPS tracking, you know where every one of your cars is at. And if they exceed a mileage, let's say ours is 100 miles, and we send out a text when you reach 75 to let you know that you have 25 miles to go. And the customer gets an alert via text and or email. I mean, all this stuff is like for the price.
But Greg, it's the number of miles you're allowing on that vehicle, or a range?
It's a range.
Okay.
Right now, currently, we have 100 miles. If there's an exception, then we simply eliminate that in the contract, in the write-up.
Got it.
So you can waive it.
All right, Tom, are you using any kind of, Greg, I want to call this a restriction, and I don't mean it to be in a negative way, but it's the loaner car policy that you have. Do you have something like this, Tom?
I don't, but I need to. We actually just recently have had a couple of issues with cars being taken outside of our area. I'm always weighing on the side of, once again, I want to be on the front end. I want to make it easy and convenient and unrestricted as possible. But you've also got to balance out those risks, and I'm putting myself at a little bit of risk. So I think somewhere in between where I'm at and where Greg's at is probably where I'll land for sure.
So does a customer sign an agreement, Greg?
Oh, absolutely. It's all digital, and as soon as they sign it, we email them the contract or print it out, whatever is comfortable for them, and it's all documented. I mean, we had one young lady put 106 miles on a car in less than a day, and I didn't have my GPS tracking set up at that time because we're still in the process of getting everything formalized with that end of the deal. But that, again, it helped me. It made it concrete that we can option and we can let the customer do whatever they want. I mean,
okay.
If we're comfortable with the customer and if there's an exception to the rule, fine. Call us, let us know. We'll take care of it.
I could come in, so my car's down, and I could say, "Hey, thanks so much for the car, but listen, I had to drive to the town an hour and a half to see my mother today. Obviously, you have my car. I can't go anywhere. Is it okay? I can drive. I can drive this car that long."
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
It doesn't shut the car down. It just gives you alerts that, hey, you're at one level. That's all.
But you would this. So if you see the GPS says they're 90 miles out or 110 miles out, you know why.
No worries.
No worries. You know why.
Yeah. Don't surprise us and tell us you went to North Carolina,
Right.
for a trip, that we didn't expect, and you're not communicating with us and so forth and so on. Then, we can get a little irritated.
Got it. Tom, do you have a fuel surcharge? I mean, is there any kind of cost at all for a loaner car?
No, there's no cost. Our loaner agreement is basic as my insurance guy will let me have, because we have so much. So as the owner of a business, my number one goal is to provide my team an environment that they like to work in and give them all the tools to be successful. So my loaner cars are one of the major tools to make my service advisors and my manager successful in overcoming objections and stuff. So they got so many things they're going over with that customer as they're in my office that we try to make the loaner process really simple. So we send all of our loaners out full of fuel. We ask that they come back full of fuel. They come back as clean as they were when they took off. You know what I mean? You don't haul your pets in the back seat kind of stuff, just kind of basic stuff. All kind of my loaner agreements lined up by my commercial insurance guy with a little bit of added twist of what we're kind of looking for.
Do you have any, Jamie, I believe it's Jamie, all customers must upload the declarations page with proof of full coverage. Do you require that, guys?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a big one there. I got burned on the full coverage one. So didn't really catch that. We required everybody had insurance, but the full coverage part seems silly now that I didn't catch that. But I didn't catch that, so I paid for one out of pocket due to a customer not having good coverage.
So part of the discussion that I had yesterday was someone said, my accountant or my lawyer, someone said I should start another company to put these loaner cars in to kind of put my liability, a little further from my main company. Have you guys heard that at all?
We've had that discussion. I think if you have a good insurance company and you've got a good lawyer on your side and a good accountant, they'll advise you. My businesses are set up to minimize risk to me for a reason, and loaner cars are definitely part of that discussion. I don't have my loaner cars in a separate business, but just the way I have my LLCs and my corporations set up, obviously, is to minimize risk. And the older I get and the closer and once I start to get a little bit positive on being actually worth money, we have more and more of those discussions with the people I trust. So that's definitely a factor. And there's different ways and different opinions how to do that. I don't want to claim to be the expert on that.
I think of you, Greg, and the whole succession thing and the family thing and keeping it separate. Did you do anything like that?
No, we were advised just to keep it as it is and just make sure you follow your rules, your whole situation. Okay. Making sure that you make the announcement in your company binder and all your corporate papers.
Yeah.
That way you don't risk the corporate veil, and that's what you're trying to protect the most. So we went with an independent insurance. My regular broker the policy that we have currently will not really take on the risk of loaners. So that's why we went with Lancer. But I didn't want that to hinder me. So as we progress through the year, I'll probably find another business carrier. I understand that Federated is doing quite well with these things. I just wanted to get started on it, just make sure that we get the bumps and bruises out and follow the lead of guys like Tom.
Tom, do you put some of the cost of the cars in marketing?
I do. Yeah. So you can. I'm a numbers guy, so you could either fit them in your 25% of your fixed expenses, or you can fit it into your 5 to 9% of your marketing costs. I consider my loaner cars a huge part of marketing, so I use a portion of my marketing budget to cover those loaner cars. So when we're in discussions, as our sales grow and our car count grows a little bit with sales, then that means I've got more customers requesting these loaners. So when we're in discussions, hey, the manager comes to me, hey, Tom, I think we're needing another car or two. I look at what our sales projections are going to be and what my budget's left over in my marketing cost to justify if I can, if I can fit another one or two into the budget or not.
Interesting question, guys. Is there a minimum ticket price that you would give for a free loaner? If I came in for an oil change and says, hey, something came up, I have to go to a meeting and it's going to be an $80 ticket maybe, would you do it?
No. What's that telling your customer? That's telling your customer they're only valuable to you if they spend money. That in my opinion is wrong. A customer that spends $20 with me gets traded the same as the customer that spends $1 million with me. Value them all.
And that's a hard thing to jump over, but Tom is correct. I mean, you think you can be kind of like prejudiced if they don't spend, an X amount of dollars But if you're going to build it and you're going to jump in with this, get the emotion out of it. Understand that it's a tool. It's something that you're offering. You got to roll with it.
Yep.
I've never done this before, but I just saw Jerry Kazaya jump in. And hi, Jerry. Jerry, I've sent you 2 emails in the last week. Would you please answer one of them? I've never done this before.
Jerry's too busy checking out his wine cellar. That's what Jerry's all about,
I know. Honest to God, I know. That's probably where he is right now because it's cooler down there than anywhere else, right? Hey guys, this has been going great. Thank you. There's a couple of great comments in the posts. Now, Shopware wants you to know something important, and I have a feeling this lends itself to our topic. They want you to wow your customers, and I think we've been talking about, hey, we've got a loaner car for you. Wow. That's a wow moment, right? Wow your customers while keeping your distance. Even while staying 6 feet apart, Shopware's innovative technology will help you move cars through safely and efficiently. Completely digital workflow allows customers to review, approve, and pay for repairs all in one place. Request a demo at getshopware.com/carm. Jerry is laughing. Well, Jerry's at a point in his life where he doesn't have to read emails.
He doesn't have to do a lot of things. That's good for Jerry.
We've had 2 loaner cars totaled, Jamie Carlson says. Customers' insurance paid both times. That's how the reason they're looking at their coverage and knowing that they have coverage is for incidences like this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why you make sure that you get full protection, and we address the issue and make sure they have full coverage. I believe that most vehicles that are still under payment, whether they're leased or owned, they have to carry full insurance. So that's a question you can ask. If you don't know the person, do you own the car, or are you leasing the car? What's the one we're working on? Pretty much being an owner situation, but you have to find out about, hey, what kind of coverage do you have? And I think what we did, and I said, we're really new to all this. This is our first full week with it, but we're starting to get the questions down that we don't think are too offensive. Like, what's your insurance like? Do you have the name, the number? You can see your license. And of course, we take all that information in, and that offers us a lot of good data in a sense. So, we can see their policies and that kind of thing.
How are you going to plan, Greg, on giving this great opportunity or option to your customer, and they look at all the things and they sign, if you will, the end user license agreement, right? And he says, oh, by the way, this is GPS. Whoa. No, you're not tracking where I'm going. You think that's going to come up?
It just might. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that I won't back down from it. I have to explain to them that, we're doing it to protect the vehicle. All the dealers do it. And we started off the show with, Tom saying the dealers are out his way, are kind of like adapting to it. Well, the Lexus dealer, when I went over to get my 3 vehicles, fortunately, I know the CFO. We talked about how he got involved with it. And he was giving me great tips on what to expect with the double-edged sword. But he said he had to start because the Lexus dealer up the street from him has 80 loaners. And he goes, well, we had to jump in. So now we've got 65 loaners. And it's going on down the pike. But, they're all GPS tracked. And he says, they have no problem. I have no problem. Meaning that, the dealership wants it. And the customers have no problem knowing that that the vehicle's being tracked. So I don't expect to have a lot. If there is any difficulty in terms of privacy for a good client, then I simply can remove the device. That's it.
Okay, it's a what, OBD2 dongle?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting thing about 80 cars. Does that signify the number of tickets per day, or what their flow rate would be?
Well, I think it does. I mean, the example that I gave when I lent that Ford Escape out to the Honda client, she came in. What she told me, and I'm trying to like remedy the situation, right? I couldn't get her in another rental car. Enterprise was closed. Hertz is bankrupt. They didn't have no inventory. I could not get her into a rental car, whatever I needed. I offered her my pickup truck, personal truck, just to get this client taken care of. Well, she came back to me and she goes, I knew I should have taken it to Honda. They always give me a free loaner. They always have a loaner car for me. And I go, no defense, no defense.
You don't, and now you do. Tom, I know you're busier than, I don't know, I don't know how many vehicles you have.
We are at 13 right now.
All right. Well, you're doing more tickets than 13, so I don't believe you have 100% coverage. So, what is the percentage of coverage that your customers get a loaner car? 50%.
I'm a 15 car a day shop. I'm a super low car count, high average repair shop.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, we're pretty close to 1-to-1. You know what I mean? So I would probably say only 50% of our customers leave with a loaner. You know, it's kind of funny actually. Some of my favorite customers never take a loaner. They're just easy. You know, a lot of my clients have extra cars. You know, so if they don't need it, they don't take it. But it varies, you know, from week to week, just like workflow and stuff. But for the most part, our loaner cars are generally about a day or two out further than our schedule. So if we're out a week on our schedule, our loaner cars are generally like a week and 2 days or something, if that makes sense. So we try to balance the loaner car schedule and the workflow schedule pretty evenly.
You think you'll add to your fleet, Greg?
Oh yeah, I mean, without a doubt. I mean, my first 3 purchases, I got the 2 Civics, and I bought a CRV, at least a CRV for moms and families. And I see myself probably getting a pickup truck for contractors or executives, contract CEOs and guys in the field that need to get out there. So I think I could probably handle 5. I don't, in my volume and what I have currently, 5 would probably be my max right now. But again, we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, you'll pay attention to all of that. A question here from Mary Ann. I'm curious, could there be any legal issues with removing GPS for some and not others? Wow, why are we always so worried about? Well, Mary Ann, you're right. That's a great question, but maybe it's a left side, right side question too. What do you guys think?
I can't give that answer. I understand the whole privacy situation. You know that very well, Carm. But here I am trying to protect everything. If I take it out for one client, do I have to remove it? Well, I could put an opt-in, opt-out situation saying, by default, the cars have GPS. Do you wish to have not installed? I don't know that answer. I'm gonna have to roll with it. These are things that I don't want. My thing is I didn't want to get bogged down into all the weeds because it was really stopping me from offering a higher level of service to my clients. And the more that I started listening to not the negative, but the things that could stymie a good thing, where risk is going to be an inherent part of this program. There's no question. I mean, in fact, the guys that I talk with, the joke is, well, just wait till how you feel till you get your first one wrecked. And Tom, you can probably attest to that. That okay, it's out of my system. I'm not worried about it. And when I put my show notes in, I said it's the emotional side of these vehicles. Here you are spending good money. You've worked all the numbers, and someone doesn't come back with your car. They don't text, they don't report, and you go, where is my car? You used my car, and all of a sudden you get emotional to it, and you can't do that. That's why I really felt that the software that I got involved with kind of takes that edge off, because both sides know the rules. Here's the rules. You signed a contract. This is it. Everything's in place. Go over. Here. You know what happens when you go over. you don't return. I mean, I don't have any penalties. I mean, we're pretty much, I can't say free-spirited, but if you don't have these guidelines, at least in my area, and everybody has to understand what their own market is, but in my particular market, I believe that having these boundaries and this safety net underneath of me is very, very, very important, because you just never know. And in the states that we live in now, the litigious side of things, I'd rather be fully armored to the best of my ability than have no armor at all.
Thanks, Greg, for that. Gene Merrill, Gene, if you're listening, Gene says we opened a separate LLC and joined AARC Rental Association for forms and insurance. Gene, my question to you, if you can post it into Facebook, is this: is the separate LLC and income generating? I mean, are you renting the cars to Gene Merrill's service, or I'm curious just how you have structured that, if it's an income generation place. Hey, do you know what is as easy as 1, 2, 3? Well, Shopware's shop management system allows customers to review, approve, and pay for repairs all in one place. Keep your staff and your customers safe while maintaining profits and keeping your customers happy. Learn more at getshopware.com. A lot of great chatter. My wife loves income. that was Gene's answer. Apparently we know the answer.
I want to chime in on Gene, because he was one of the guys I consulted with,
Yeah.
and all he could offer me is fish tacos and beer. That's all Gene could offer me back. So
yeah.
Just kidding. No, Gene actually had some very good insight. Very good insight.
What company sells insurance for loaners? You say Federated, Greg?
Well, that's all business insurance. First, I would advise, like Tom did and a lot of others, check with your regular business broker and find out what kind of carve-outs are available in your own policy. The company that I went with is called Lancer. They are based out of Long Island, New York, and they are specific to the loaner/rental business.
So they get
have
that.
A complete program.
Yeah,
they get it. Yeah.
So let's tighten this thing up and put a bow on it. The whole rethinking, the whole COVID, whatever the new normal is, and then I keep thinking of concierge service and how we have really done so many wonderful things to reinvent how we serve and connect with our customers. And Greg, it just seems to me that adding the loaner cars was just an evolution and almost the right thing to do. A little bit hands-free, but convenience at a next and newer level for you. I wish I have to drive 25 miles to take my car to the shop that I've been going to for years. And just the other day, Annie had a slow leak and a state inspection, and how many miles did we have to drive with 2 different cars to drop off and pick up? And it would have been really neat to have a loaner. And not every day, but when that need is, I imagine that word giving this exceptional customer experience, and that's the game we're in. So let's just finish this off, and maybe on the positive side of loaner cars, how does that all fit into your exceptional customer service strategy, guys? Tom?
Yeah, well, I look at it. I really look at everything from a sales standpoint when it comes to loaners as well. So when you're at the counter, your 2 biggest objections when, say, you're talking about a $2,000 repair on somebody's vehicle, the number 1 objection we were getting when you go back and listen through the vehicles is time. I need my car, so I can't leave my car with you. So boom, you just gave your team the tool to overcome that objection. Well, I got you. Don't you worry about it. You leave me your car. I've got a nice car sitting out front. Here's the keys to it. Let's get you going. That's really one of the 2 biggest objections. The other objection is the cost. So financing and offering good financing and offering loaner cars are probably the 2 biggest tools you can give your advisors to have successful advisors. My advisors are the best of the best. They have a high sales percentage. And then go and look through your opportunity cost. Look at, you should be tracking that. So if you're tracking every vehicle that comes through your business and what your technicians find wrong, I know my technicians find an average of about, I think we're up to like $2,300 per vehicle on average wrong. And then our sales percentages, we, out of that 2,300, we average about $850 worth of sales. So what is that? 30%, close to 30%. Look at that opportunity and just think, what could we do to maybe raise our sales percentage by 5%? If you could overcome the objection of time by having a loaner car, I almost guarantee you your advisors will raise their sales percentage by 5%. And that equals a lot of money. That's enough money to buy all the loaners, a lot of them. So that's
great
what I would
points.
encourage you to look at. Look on the front end.
Yeah.
If I could increase my sales by 5%, how much more money would I have? For us, that's a lot. Our opportunity cost every day, our opportunity every day around here is, $50,000 to $60,000. So you take 5% of that, it's a lot of money every day to pay for a loaner. So.
Mm-hmm. In fact, it was something when I got the vehicles. It was just yesterday, or the day before. I had my advisors each take the cars out, one Civic and one CRV. I said, just go for a drive. I said, now think how. I said, I came back. I said, you know what? I'm really proud that we can offer this. I go, take it for a ride. Tell me what you think. And they both came back and said, you know what? This is really a great option for our client base. And the cost of it, we broke it down to where this fleet of 3 is costing us about $45 a day for $46 a day for everything. And you can't make up $43, $46 a day by satisfying a client. Like I said, when the numbers,
there are many ways. Right, Greg? Many ways.
Yep. Many ways
to cover that cost, not only in the opportunity as you talk about, Tom, which is the exact way to think about it, is let's grow our sales because of this and make happy customers. And, it's amazing how you said way in the beginning, I don't look at it as a cost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For Tom and I being, Tom, you're Napa, and so am I. And both of us now we've eliminated every objection possible for a client to say no. We have the financing, we have the 3 and 36, we've got the loaner cars. I think right now I've got a full package, and that's what I'm proud of. I really am. That's a big step. We've put out some good money for it. But I'm confident, and once I got educated on the entire financing package, and like Tom said, the forward-thinking part of it,
yeah.
I'm done ho.
All right, I think you nailed it. I don't think we need to go any further. I think we covered, from A to Z, and I think we put a positive spin on why loaner cars are at your places and why they could be a great option for customers and to grow your business. Thanks, Greg Buckley, Buckley's Personalized Auto Care, Wilmington, Delaware. And Tom Lambert, Shadetree Automotive. Thank you, man. Layton, Utah. Appreciate it, guys. Love the pictures. Continued success. For sure. My next live is next Tuesday, noon, aftermarketweekly.com. See you then, guys. Bye.